Hi everyone, so today I want to show you this card, which is a 5x7 double point card. I have done a 6x6 version, but for this Make a Team video I wanted to do a 5x7. So this is a card I've made previously using my Power Perfect papers, digital paper kit. Today I'm going to be using the Oh So Sweet paper kit from DRK Crafts. It's actually a first edition pad and it's perfect for the summer, because it's these beautiful ice creams and lollies and all things nice and sweet and cakes and things like that. So let's get into it. So we've got, for the actual base of the card, you need two pieces of base card, one 5x7 and one that is 5x7.5. On the one that is 5x7.5, you're just going to score half an inch, and then that's that bit done. You're also going to need two squares that are 3.5 by 3.5, and again these are base card, and you want to just score them in half diagonally. So then I'm just going to go ahead and just fold these ones in half and just burnish the score lines. So you end up with that. And then this one here, we're just going to fold along that line. And then we just need to add a little bit of red tape just on the top of that tab. And then all we're going to do is peel the backing partly off this tape. Take the 5x7, put that over the top. You're basically making a top folding 5x7 card. So I'm just going to put this on. If you have card that is long enough, that is 14 inches long, that you can just make a top fold card out of, it's a lot easier. But I don't, well, I have got some, but I just thought most people don't have, so let's do it the way that most people will be doing it. Okay, so that's your card base done, so you can put that to one side. We're not going to stick anything on it just yet. Next, you need to bring in a piece of mat that is 4 3/4 by 6 3/4 and a piece of pattern that's 4.5 by 6.5. Now you've got a choice on this. These pieces here are going to go over the top like this and stick down. Now on my original card that I showed you at the beginning, I actually stuck them around the mat, so they're behind the mat, but I'm not that keen on the edge you get there. When I did the 6x6 version, I actually put them underneath the pattern paper, and that was an accident, but actually I quite like the fact you've got the base card, then the mat, then the base, then the mat, then the pattern. So I'm going to do that on this one. I'm actually going to stick them behind the pattern paper. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our pattern piece, which was the 4.5 by 6.5, and we're going to put this behind here. Now you will notice it is a little bit too big, so if you want to cut this square down a bit, you can make it a little bit smaller. It just means you have to change all the other layers as well. I'm going to leave it as it is, because once it's on, and then it's on here, and it's on there, hopefully it'll be okay. It is a bit big, you probably need to cut it down, but I'm going to leave mine like this for now. Okay, so you should end up with that. So now we're going to stick the whole thing down onto our mat layer. I've actually decided I'm going to trim these little corners off. I'm not sure what that's going to look like, but I'm going to give it a go. As I said, if you want to just make it so it's the right size, you can, or you can just do what I did in the live stream and actually cut it behind the mat. Put it behind the mat. I actually don't mind that. I quite like that. Don't mind it being trimmed off. It looks a bit more envelopey. It's alright, it looks okay. So we're going to go ahead and stick that on to the mat. Okay, so that's your mat piece. So now you can go ahead and stick that onto the front of your card. Now the way I've done it is I've done it so then the tab is on the back of this front piece. So when you open it up, this doesn't have any tab on it. Obviously, if you want to do it differently, you can. So I'm going to go ahead now and stick that down. So now you just need to get yourself a square of card, of mat card, that is 3 inches by 3 inches, and a square of pattern that is 2.5 by 2.5. Now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put some tape on the back of these first before we cut them, because what we're going to do in a minute is we're going to cut them in half diagonally, and it's a bit easier if you already taped it and then you cut it. It just makes life a little bit easy. So I'm going to go ahead and just tape these up first. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and cut these in half diagonally. Okay, so you've now got your two triangles and your other two triangles. So I'm going to go and stick these onto here and then these onto here. So you should end up with that. So you've got these little flaps flapping down. So now what we're going to do is bring in the centerpiece. So you need a piece of base that is 2.5 by 5.5. You need a piece of mat that's 2.25 by 5, and a piece of pattern that's 2 by 4.5. Now I'm going to do this slightly differently to the way I did my original card, because that didn't go according to plan. So what we need to do is take your base card, and because your base card measures 2.5, you want to mark at 1.25 at the top and also at the bottom. And then you want to mark up the sides 1.25, and then up from the bottom 1.25. And you want to do that on this side as well, because what we're going to do in a minute is we're going to join these lines up, and that will make our pointed section. So I've just done little pencil marks. I'm not going to draw lines on. I'm just going to go ahead and cut it, and then you can see what I mean. So this is going to go, so if there's a point, that's the halfway point, that's the 1.25. So there's both the 1.25 marks, but one's halfway along the bottom. So we're going to cut across there like that, and then we're going to come over here and do the same here, and so that gives you your point. So we're going to repeat the process at the other end. So you should end up with that, which is your middle piece. Now, when I did the square one, I did actually use an oval in the middle. So you don't have to cut this shape out if you want to. You can just use an oval, or, you know, a square, or whatever you want. So next we're going to bring in this one, which is the 2.25 by 5. So what we're going to do on this mat piece is we're going to measure halfway again along the top. So it's 2.25, so half of that is 1 1/8. And you want to do the same along the bottom, 1 1/8. And then I'm going to measure up the side 1 1/8. And then I'm going to measure up this side 1 1/8, down here 1 1/8, and down there 1 1/8. And hopefully that will give us the right kind of angle. So I've drawn the lines in, and they do look about right. So I'm going to go ahead now, and I'm going to cut those corners off. Again, if you want to put tape on first, that could be a very good idea, because then at least you know you're not going to have to tape around corners. And then so that gives you that. And then your pattern piece, which was the 2 by 4.5, on the back, we're going to do the same thing again. So we're just going to go along the top, and halfway is 1 inch. So we're going to mark at 1 inch along the top, 1 inch along the bottom, and then 1 inch along the sides. Draw lines, add tape, and then cut the corners off again. Okay, so there we have our 3 pieces. So I'm going to stick the pattern onto the mat and the mat onto the base. Okay, so there's your finished piece. It's not completely even around the outside, but it's close enough. I did have to trim a little bit off the edge here because it was just a little bit it didn't quite work. If you've got a die that cuts it out, this would be good. Or as I said, if you want to use a different shape, then that would also be fine. Because you could just have a die cut here, you know, treat it like a bit like a gap card. You don't have to necessarily go with this shape. So yeah, so you can really do what you want. So I'm going to go ahead now and stick this on, making sure my little hearts are the right way up. I'm going to go and stick this down. And with using this gingham pattern paper, it's actually quite useful because we can kind of see roughly where the lines need to go. That being said though, I am going to just put a little dot underneath here and here, just so I know where my tape needs to go. If you want to put this on pads, you can. I'm going to just stick it straight down because it's a connecting piece. I want to make sure it's definitely stuck, and also I also want to make sure that it's not too bulky in the envelope. So okay, so I'm going to use this happy birthday sentiment, which again is a Dovecraft sentiment, but I quite like it because it's nice and simple. You got the pad on the back, just whack it on and it's really pretty. It's just a nice sentiment. You can use it for male and female cards, decent size. So I'm just going to whack that in the middle. And then I'm going to go ahead and add some of these flowers that I've got. Just going to put these behind. So there you have it, a finished card, and obviously you can add more to it, add less to it, whatever you want to do, but it's just quite a sweet card. It doesn't take that long to make. I would say the hardest bit is obviously cutting this out so that it all fits. Just make sure as well that this back piece here is stable enough, because this is actually, I'm going to have to strengthen this. This is not quite, because when you stand it up, it will stand up fine, but that back bit's got quite a lot of weight on it, so you want to make sure that's quite stable. Obviously if you're using a different colour like I did from my original, so this one here, I went for a base card. This is actually a stronger base card, but it's a lilac one, so I'm going to have to put a white piece in the middle anyway, but it is a lot stronger. You can see that's a lot stronger. So yeah, so that's the card for today. So I hope you liked it. Please go and check out drkcrafts.co.uk and check out their first edition Oh So Sweet pad. They've got quite a lot of first edition pads on at the moment. At the time of recording, obviously by the time this goes up, I'm not sure what the state of play will be, but when I recorded this, they've got quite a few pads up that are reduced in price, massively reduced in price. Definitely worth getting. First edition pads are fabulous. I've been using them for many years, and they are probably my favourite brand of paper pad because of the quality of the paper, the designs of the paper, and just how, you know, thick and sturdy. That 200 GSM, they're a really good weight. You can use, they're very versatile. I just love them. So yeah, go and check them out. They're definitely worth doing. So yeah, so I hope you liked it. Please like and subscribe, as I've already said. Hit the notification bell so you never miss a video. Leave a comment down below, and I'll see you next time. Bye.